So, Bree, did you know that we have to pass our Keystones in my class? She was just sitting on the table behind me, literally 2 seconds ago. Like, I just laid down to take a quick nap, and she was gone. I thought I heard someone like yelling in my distance. I had this weird dream that I was taking my Keystone test, and then I heard someone yelling, Tori, where'd you go? I'm being the host of the Eagle's Eye. And I was like, no. And I like sort of woke up, and then I remembered that Keystone retakes are coming up. So I think we have an interview with Miss Wiegand. Not Miss Wiegand. With someone to tell us about Keystone retakes. Maybe Mr. Brenner. No, probably not. Okay, it's someone. And they're going to tell you all about Keystone retakes while I go look for Bree, because I'm starting to get worried where she went. This is becoming a problem. Bye, guys.
Hi, I'm Devin Morris here talking to Mrs. Wiegand about the upcoming Keystones. Hi, Mrs. Wiegand, how are you?
Hi, Devin, how are you?
I'm good. All right, so what are the Keystones?
Keystones is a big, gigantic test in the state of Pennsylvania that I think replaces the PSSA. So I think if we're familiar with that term, so the new term is Keystones, and it's definitely just a very important test to make sure that we are academically there as a state and all our high school kids will be sufficient in all the areas.
Right, and I thought the Keystones were being held in the spring, so why are students taking them now?
You're absolutely correct. Spring is the big Keystone where everybody does have to take it, but this is what we're going to call the makeup Keystones. We did give Keystones last year to our students, and some of them did not score proficient. So as a result, we did put them in a remediation course this particular semester to prepare them for it, and now after the new year, they're going to retake that portion that they did not score proficient.
Okay, so it's not that the students all failed it, they just didn't get as high as the requirements
Absolutely. We don't use words like pass or fail. It's like proficient, above proficient, below proficient. So therefore, it is the state's score that they mandate, and we just, of course, have to follow the rules and regulations.
Right, and what happens when students don't necessarily pass them this time?
Well, I believe that it is part of graduation requirements now for the new class. So I think that if for whatever the reason they were not as prepared as they possibly could have been in their remediation course, we will probably find like an in-house assessment to make sure that they are good for graduation. But let's not even have that conversation. I think it's very important that they take this test seriously. We as a school take this test seriously. Our teachers have been prepping our students for months now. So we're going to hope that everybody takes it seriously. And it really could be a difference between a score or two or a question or two just to push them over to proficient.
Right, so when are these Keystones?
These Keystones are going to be after the new year. The algebra Keystone makeup is January 7th and the 8th. I think the biology is the 12th and the 13th, and the literature Keystone is January 14th and the 15th.
And how will this affect the students that aren't taking the Keystones? Is this held before school or during school?
Well, a very small portion of the school is taking it, so we felt that it wasn't necessary to disrupt the whole day, have a delayed entry. So for the algebra test, which is January 7th and the 8th, we do have 93 students taking it, so we will take them to the Audion, we'll take them to the library. We're going to operate normally for the rest of the school. I think the only thing that we're going to change is we'll make it like a block day during that time. So all of this will be released after the new year. The biology exam, which is January 12th and the 13th, has about 91 students, and the literature exam, which is January 14th and 15th, only has 50. So we definitely don't want to disrupt the environment. So we're going to put them in the Audion, the library, and the rest of the school will go on with their day.
So out of these 90 plus students that you were talking about, how can they prepare to take this test?
Well, at home, they can make sure that they get a good night's sleep. They can make sure that they have a breakfast, whether here or at home. They can make sure they don't bring their cell phone or do anything that could disqualify their score. And I'm just hoping that the remediation class that they've been taking, I think it's on a computer, has been prepping them every single day in order to pass this exam. Because it is very crucial. It holds value now. I mean, it was always important, but now it's part of the graduation standards.
Right. So what are one of the consequences of bringing your cell phone into the testing room?
Definitely wouldn't do that. If you, for some reason, can't live without your cell phone, we do have rules and regulations. We'll take it, we'll tag it, we'll put it in a box, we'll give you a pencil, we will space you out nicely, we'll proctor the exam, and then we'll return your phone afterwards. So I definitely would not be caught with it, because if you definitely don't want us to put a do not score on it, because that's the worst thing that could happen, because the state doesn't score it, and that's it.
Right. So how will this test environment be different from the one in spring?
It'll be different in the sense where we're putting it in the Audion and the library, so just a more concentrated place where With the spring, we're going to have to utilize many different classrooms, and a lot more help is needed. So this one is a makeup exam. It's still as important as ever. We know what the data is. We know what our kids can do, and everyone, as a school district, is working their hardest to make sure that everybody just does the best that they possibly can.
Right. And is there a way to study for this test?
Although I've never been in the biology or literature remediation, I'm going to assume, like anything else, it's like a PSAT course or an SAT course, where every day when you're in this elective, you are prepping for this exam, leading right up to the actual day of the exam. So I just hope that kids are taking it seriously.
Right. And the students that are taking them in January, are they seniors, juniors, sophomores?
I want to say that they're seniors, maybe last year's juniors. That I'm not 100%, but I do promise that 2 passes will go out. Both the passes will go out to remind them prior to the break and then after the break.
Okay.
And there's code of conduct on there. We might even have an assembly. I'm not positive. So we are actually doing everything we possibly can to remind them to come, take it seriously. We're not going to ruin their holiday, so we'll make sure it's afterwards.
Right.
But it's a very important exam, and we've had local training here at the high school. All teachers involved have to take a video training, which is half an hour. I've personally been to 2 local trainings, so it's definitely something that is very serious.
Right, so there's no personalized time for students that are taking the Keystones in the classroom. This is more of an individual thing that students have to take outside of the classroom.
What do you mean? The students are in the classroom taking the remediation course.
Right. But before, is there like any, like, do teachers just stop what they're teaching now to say, okay, well, this stuff might be on the Keystones, or is it more individual?
I think because Keystones are new, we had to, I've had PSSAs for almost all of my education training. So with this new exam, we had to adapt, and so we brought in new remediation courses. So everything is new, and we're learning every day how to make it better. So I'm hoping that it pays off.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, just please get a good night's sleep, have breakfast, please take your remediation classes seriously, take your passes, remember your passes, show up for the algebra, bio, or literature exam, and we're rooting for you to do well.
All right, thank you, Mrs.
Thank
Vigan.
you.
I'm Devin Morse, and I just talked to Mrs. Vigan about the upcoming Keystones. Now back to the Eagle's Eye.